and welcome to this very special episode. We're in conversation with the Chauhan sisters, joint managing directors of Parle Agro, now a 5,000 crore company. What are some of their plans going forward and how are they intending to take it from strength to strength? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Shauna, Nadia, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. Both first joined the business. I want to actually go back to that moment because it's fascinating to see you so passionate and so driven about taking this company to another level altogether. Shauna, was it always understood that you would join? Was there any preparation that you did? Any mentorship that came from your father? How did you venture into the business?
I believe I actually joined the day I was born. Okay, so I spent a lot of time at work. I took my first steps at work.
Really?
Yeah. And when I was in boarding school or when I was in college, every time we came back for our summer breaks or we had any midterm breaks, I would definitely try and spend some amount of time at the office with my dad, mingling around, watching what is going on, go into the markets, go with him to the factories. I was more just observing, and but I knew that this is where I was going to land up.
Sure.
You know, I was very confident about that. And today it feels like it was just yesterday. You know, it's been such a great journey. There have been so many hurdles, there have been so many speed breakers, there's been ups, there's been down, but I'm very passionate about what I'm doing and I absolutely love it. You know, I feel like it's in my blood.
We can see that, yeah. But Nadia, was it similar for you or different? And entering when Shauna was already there, did that help to kind of have an elder sibling that had already kind of learned the ropes as such?
It was quite similar, and I think that I would also credit that to our father, because I think that besides being a visionary for the business, he's also been quite a visionary for his own family. I think that he knew that he would want his kids in the business and his girls in the business, and as an outcome of that, he always kept us very involved. And I think that that's also important and encourages you to participate or be confident within this space itself, and get really passionately involved with what's happening, what he's doing, the plans for the business, and so on and so forth. So I've studied in Bombay throughout. I didn't go to boarding school, nor did I go abroad to study like both my sisters did, and as an outcome of that, a lot of my free time away from school or on my way back from school was always at office in his cabin. And at that point we were in a different building in another compound, but he had a large cabin and a table always for us. And he encouraged our involvement tremendously. So it was a very easy choice because it was something we really felt a part of, and it was something that we really enjoyed. So it was a very natural transition out of school and into work.
And especially during that time, I feel that a lot of girls, from family businesses were not getting involved.
Absolutely.
It was
it's not a given.
Yeah, it wasn't a given thing where right now, let's say today's generation, you see a lot of women getting more involved at work, or whether it be family business. There are a lot of more working women today. But during that time, and I think like what Nadia said, that's right, really give a lot of credit to her father and our mom, who also supported this whole, this whole idea, which is really great,
Absolutely. Did you have any of those teething problems in terms of, at such a big company, dealing with existing members of staff, male members or male heads of departments, for example? Did you have to work up the ranks, or did you get that guidance from the beginning in terms of running the ship and sort of leading from the front?
I think culturally this organization has never been that, okay, it's a woman that's going to, come join, or it could be we never felt it, and also seeing us working at such a young age, throughout the different periods and times till we became grown-ups or adults, it was just a given thing.
Okay, so you kind of,
we just blended in.
Just went with it.
Also, I don't think at any given point of time have we, just before you mentioned that it's unusual to hear of a woman running a factory, or there could be other such examples in terms of the kind of work that I do. I think at no given point of time did we treat ourselves or expect ourselves to be treated differently just because we were women, and that's how we've been brought up as well, whether by our father or our mom. Both have never differentiated us because of our gender.
And that's really important.
Absolutely.
Because even today you hear of
absolutely, you do.
Of examples where that happens. But you just referred to, whether it's working in a factory or other such instances. Share with us what it's like working in this industry. The pros and cons. What's a day in the life of Nadia Chauhan like?
I think that it's actually one of the most exciting categories to work in, and to build brands and further subcategories within the beverage industry in India. It's unlike a lot of other products, a beverage is part of your day-to-day life, and in fact many moments through the day. So it's a really exciting business. It's competitive, and I think that gives it that much more excitement. And the fact that you are talking to a very mass market, I think that it's challenging as well when you have to talk to a mass market versus dealing with niche product categories. You have to be able to cut across very different kinds of people. India is very diverse, whether it's when you talk about regions or even within a particular state, you see the level of diversity. So there are of course a lot of challenges, but in general I think that the FMCG segment or even the beverage category there are lots of changes that have taken place over the last 10 years, and I'd say the last 5 have been very special for us.
And I'm going to come back and talk to you in detail about that. But you're right, talking about FMCG, it seems to be back in favor of late. But there was a time, Shauna, when there was this burst of new competition, international brands back in the 90s, and as a company had to deal with a lot of changes. Talk us through some of those moments, and how the family sort of dealt with making critical decisions at the time. What you think worked in your favor, and how you sort of came through that period.
You base your decisions on the risks that you have to take. You have to look at the future. What are the consequences of the decision, whether you do it, you don't do it, or what decision you take. You look at the return of investment on these decisions as well. So during a competitive time is when you have to take the hardest decisions, okay? And you also have to work a lot harder on, let's say, cutting costs, or what's going to be your strategy, how are you going to manage being on top. And when it is, let's say, less competitive, I think it is as hard or harder while taking these decisions, because you have to be able to maintain being on top, maintain the speed.
So if I were to just add to that, I think that one big edge that we have as a business is that as a prerequisite, we focus on very differentiated offerings into the market. We're not a Me Too brand or a company, and in face of competition, I think that gives us a huge advantage because we're always introducing products that are first of its kind and creating a niche of our own within the market and scaling that up. That has been one of our biggest, advantages through these couple of decades. That we've rebuilt our portfolio after the big sell-off. Having said that, I think that unlike the food industry, the beverage industry hasn't sub-segmented as fast or as much. The two big dominant categories in the beverage industry, there's the cola category and then there's the mango-based fruit drink category. Unlike foods, which is sub-segmented into many types of products. So I think that with competition entering into the beverage market with within different sub-segments, it's only allowing for the beverage industry at large to really expand and grow and opening up the market to a very large extent. I think that there was a time when you'd really think twice before you'd look at a product which is beyond mango, because mango dominated more than 95-96% of the market share of the fruit-based beverage category. But today it's not the same, and consumers are opening up a lot more to experimenting. In fact, that is their need and that is their demand today, which wasn't ever the case. And it's because they've had the flavor of trying new things as an outcome of lots of new products that have come into the market.
When you had the big sell-off, was it a difficult family decision because of emotional attachment, or was it a calculated decision as a business that this was the right thing to do at the time?
I think it's a mix of both.
I think it's really hard, I would say, for us to really tell. We were quite young, and it was something that happened when our father was, of course, leading the business. I think it would definitely be very emotional because it was built by our grandfather, and the entire beverage industry really came into focus with some of these brands that we sold off. Until then, the packaged beverage market didn't really exist. So these weren't small brands. They were not even mid-scale brands. They were massive brands, and they continued to be leaders in their category.
We've all grown up on them.
Even today. They're number one in their respective segments even today, each of these brands that have continued. So I'm sure it would definitely be both, but it was a decision that had to be taken based on very realistic factors of how the takeover happened.
How old were you at that time? Or
I was actually at that time I was in Switzerland. I must have been 18 around that age. But I remember, like, my father used to call me sometimes to talk about it, and of what was happening and what's going on, and that I still remember the conversation where he said that he's really looking forward now with me coming back, because I had a year left, and that he was keen on me now joining the business. But I'm sure it's really difficult, because it's something that you created, and it was the giant of this country, and till today it is remembered. All the brands, whether it's still there or not there, you think of the brands,
Well, you're now simply taking the business to all new heights, the whole new slate of brands, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But after this very quick break, we're in conversation with Chauhan and Nadia Chauhan. Back in a moment. Welcome back. We're in conversation with Chauhan and Nadia Chauhan of Parle Agro, talking about their plans and vision for the company going forward. 10,000 crores by 2022. That's the target, the very ambitious target that you've set for the group. Talk us through the plan, how you're intending to get there, what the various stages are, and what you're envisioning.
When I actually joined the business, I remember one of the first few big conferences that we had, our father talking about 100% growth. For many, that was something that they couldn't really fathom. But that actually set this entire bug in me as well, to say that why not? At one point of time, we created, we built, and we held the #1 position in the beverage category for very, very long. And as we were on this journey of rebuilding once again, why not take on such aggressive targets? Since 2003 to now, we've gone from 250, 300 crore company to today 5,000 crores, and that's over 800, 900% growth. Part of any FMCG company is actually its distribution network, and the only way to grow is to constantly ensure that you're growing and enabling your distribution network to reach deeper and deeper. 1.5 lakh outlets to today 2 million outlets, and our journey continues until we get to 4 million base in terms of distribution. Growth plans primarily, with this in the background, is based on products and on price points that can really enable the kind of deep penetration that we need to achieve. We're building categories, we're creating products that never existed before. Many new initiatives for us this summer and going forth are focused around this segment and really being able to build it.
One side of it is, being innovative, increasing your reach, thinking out of the box, The other side of it is, I believe strongly in cost cutting, because the only way this can happen, or you can ensure this can happen, is by making sure you can sell an affordable product for the masses, and that is by controlling your costs. Cost cutting, not just by removing something, but by thinking innovatively as to how can you replace, replace that packing material or raw material by bringing down the cost. Apart from that, we're looking at a lot of more automation, because with automation you get a lot more output also coming out. You increase your efficiency level. That also helps in, let's say, what your cost per case is going to be.
Obviously looking at it from all ends of the spectrum. Also new markets, I think geographies, whether it's within India, whether it's continuing to build your export markets, that's something that you're looking at as well.
Right.
And do you continue to do that? I mean, where are you seeing the maximum growth now going forward?
The South has been an important area to sort of develop for us. We had a little bit of a slow patch in South due to various factors, and we've come back with a big bang, and there's a huge growth opportunity over there. But other than that, from a geography perspective, India across the country is very, very, very important to us. In terms of international markets, while exports is important, what we are really focusing on is local manufacturing setups, either through different partnership structures in different parts of the world. So that we have a couple of countries that we've just signed on, and we're hoping to build our global presence through that, and not just exports going forward.
Yeah.
You've never looked at the inorganic route as a company. You've always been very clear on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also never looked at listing or selling out. You've also always been clear at that. So, but as a philosophy, just what is the ethos or reasoning behind keeping it like that, and not looking at perhaps acquisitions and so on?
We believe in building our own brand, so I don't see the reason as to why we have to pay a whole bunch of a lot of money into buying someone else when we can put in the money in our own business. We've got a lot of ideas happening here. There's a lot of positive energy flowing. We're not tired, So there's absolutely no reason as to why we have to look anywhere else when there's just so much work here to be done, and this is not, I feel this is where we are. We've still got such a long way to go.
So Nadia, what would you say are Chauhan's attributes as a CEO, as a leader? What are some of the skills or strengths that she has or that she's demonstrated and that people admire her for?
I think that her strengths as a leader are very, very important from the kind of work that she handles within the business. Being involved in the operations, which are very expansive. I think that one of her greatest strengths is her ability to get into very, very micro details. Also, the fact that she's absolutely fearless as a leader. I don't think I have not yet seen a single thing that can scare her.
What would you say, Shauna, are Nadia's strengths?
Very confident of herself. She thinks out of the box. She's extremely creative. She doesn't let anybody or anything hold her back if she's clear of what she wants to achieve.
That's amazing, and from what I gather, there isn't too much resistance to new ideas. It seems to be a culture that actually fosters innovation.
And I think that's because it's led from the top,
Right.
Innovation is led from our father.
He's always looked at a problem as an opportunity. He's never feared dreaming big. As long as you have the answer, figuring out how to make it happen, you can dream as big as you like.
What about your mother as the female influence in the household? What did she think about all of you joining the business and working around the clock?
Our mom is as fiercely strong and as a woman, and I think that just like our father, at no point of time have either one of them ever differentiated us because we're girls. A large part of the world would say our boys will do it. Our parents were always proud to say our girls will do it.
But is there a message you'd like to leave for all the young women out there? We're celebrating Women's Day, and everyone is looking for inspiration and looking for a reason to perhaps go out there, take that chance, live their dream.
Things look difficult, and that's what makes it, more fun and more challenging. And then when you reach the end of the road and when you look back, you actually think you don't even remember those times. So I feel that women should not be afraid of that.
Right.
They should get up, they should do what they want to do and not allow anyone else to change that for them.
I think that sometimes I think of I have a daughter and she's 9 years old, and she's never been exposed to conversations such as men and women and that differentiation. So for her it's absurd that anyone thinks that a woman can't do something that a man can, or that there is any kind of it's really capability or individually driven and not gender driven. And that's why I actually hate giving importance to the subject in general, because the more you give it, the more you actually create that differentiation. So whether it's to a man or to a woman out there, I would say that be passionate and fearlessly determined, and it's not about your gender. You'll make your dream come true.
Well said. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that's a message that will touch many young women out there. Nadia, Shauna, both of you, pleasure speaking with you, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
That's all from us on this special conversation. Thank you so much for watching.